6. Every year, thousands of new and used tractors change hands across Australian farms, and a surprising number of those buyers are back at the dealer or the auction house within 18 months, trying to undo the decision. Industry data from 2025 suggests that nearly 1 in 4 private tractor sales in Australia happens within 2 years of the original purchase, and the reasons behind those early resales follow a remarkably consistent pattern. 5 buying mistakes account for most of the regret, according to conversations with independent dealers and machinery brokers across 3 states. We start with the mistake that seems the smallest at the time of purchase and ends up costing the most over the life of the machine. In 5th place, undersizing horsepower for the implement a farmer actually intends to run is the mistake that shows up fastest and hurts the least, which is exactly why it happens so often. A farmer buying a 45 horsepower compact tractor to run a 6-foot slasher or a post hole digger rated for 60 horsepower will strain the engine, overheat the hydraulic system, and burn through clutch components at nearly double the normal rate. Independent workshop data collected across regional Victoria shows that undersized tractors running oversized implements need clutch replacement around 1,200 operating hours, compared to 2,500 hours or more on a correctly matched machine, a difference that costs the farmer an extra repair worth approximately 900 Australian dollars over the same period of ownership. The comparison that matters here is simple. A tractor rated at 75 horsepower running a 50 horsepower implement barely notices the load. A tractor rated at 45 horsepower running a 60 horsepower implement is working at its absolute limit every single time it is used. The same way a small car towing a trailer far heavier than its rating will overheat its transmission far faster than a properly matched tow vehicle. The fix costs nothing beyond research. Match the tractor's rated horsepower and hydraulic flow to the largest implement you actually intend to run, with a genuine safety margin of at least 15%, rather than buying to the smallest machine that technically fits the job on paper. 4th place is a mistake that only reveals itself the first time the ground gets properly wet. In 4th place, choosing the wrong transmission type for the property's actual terrain and task mix is a mistake that often does not surface until conditions turn difficult. A hydrostatic transmission, which uses hydraulic fluid rather than mechanical gears to transfer power, offers smooth, infinitely variable speed control that is genuinely excellent for loader work, slashing, and stop-start yard tasks. A gear drive transmission delivers more efficient power transfer for sustained heavy pulling, such as plowing or towing a fully loaded trailer over long distances. Farmers who buy a hydrostatic model expecting gear drive level towing efficiency report fuel consumption increases of around 12 to 18% under heavy sustained load, based on comparative fuel logs shared through Australian farming forums. The reverse mistake is just as common. Farmers who buy a gear drive tractor expecting hydrostatic level ease of use for constant loader and yard work report significantly more clutch wear from the frequent directional changes that gear drive transmissions are not designed to absorb as gracefully. Independent mechanics estimate that a gear drive tractor used primarily for loader work needs clutch attention around 40% sooner than one used mainly for towing and field work. Think of it like choosing between an automatic and a manual car for a job that involves constant stop-start traffic versus constant highway driving. The transmission type should match the dominant task, not the tractor that happened to be on the lot that week. And a 5-minute conversation with the dealer about actual intended use prevents nearly all of this regret before the sale is even signed. 3rd place is the mistake that only becomes obvious the day something actually breaks. In 3rd place, ignoring the strength of a dealer's after-sales support network in favor of a slightly better purchase price is a mistake that farmers consistently regret the first time a breakdown happens during a critical window, like seeding or harvest. A survey of independent machinery brokers across New South Wales found that farmers who bought from dealers with a documented same-week service response waited an average of 2 days for a technician call-out, while farmers who bought from the cheapest available seller, often a distant or lower service dealer, waited an average of 9 days for the same type of repair. On a cropping property during a seeding window, 9 days of downtime on a tractor can mean missing the optimal planting date entirely, a cost that dwarfs whatever was saved on the original purchase price. The comparison worth remembering is straightforward. A tractor bought $2,000 cheaper from a distant dealer with a 2-week average response time is not actually cheaper once a single breakdown during a critical season is factored into the real cost of ownership. Farmers should ask any dealer, before signing anything, for their average technician response time during peak season, how many service vehicles cover the region, and whether loan machines are available during extended repairs. A dealer's after-sales reputation is not marketing language. It is documented data that most dealers will provide if asked directly, and checking it before purchase costs nothing beyond one honest phone call. Second place is a mistake that looks like a bargain right up until the first part needs replacing. In second place, buying a tractor fitted with white label or generic electronic components that have no dedicated Australian part stock is a mistake that often does not reveal itself until well past the return window. Several budget import brands source their engine control modules, dashboard clusters, and sensor packages from third-party electronic suppliers rather than manufacturing them in-house, which keeps the purchase price attractively low. The problem surfaces when a sensor or control module fails, and the importer discovers that the specific electronic component was sourced from a supplier that no longer exists, or was a one-off batch never intended for ongoing support. Independent import specialists report wait times of 6 to 14 weeks for replacement electronic components sourced directly from overseas when no local stock exists, compared to 2 to 5 days for equivalent components on brands that manufacture and stock their own electronics domestically. A tractor sitting idle for 10 weeks during a critical work period costs far more in lost productivity than whatever was saved on the original purchase price. The comparison that matters is this. 2 tractors can look mechanically identical and cost the same amount, but one is backed by a manufacturer that stocks its own electronics in an Australian warehouse, while the other depends entirely on an overseas supply chain with no guaranteed continuity. Before buying any budget imported tractor, ask the Australian distributor directly whether electronic components are locally stocked or sourced on demand overseas, and get that answer in writing if the machine is a serious long-term investment. And in first place, the mistake that makes every other mistake on this list dramatically worse. And finally, in first place, buying a tractor from a brand with no established dealer or parts network in Australia is the single mistake that farmers regret more than any other, because it compounds every other problem on this list simultaneously. A farmer who buys an attractively priced tractor from a brand with a single importer and no regional dealer presence is betting the entire future serviceability of that machine on one company's continued existence and stock levels. Industry data from 2025 indicates that tractors from brands with fewer than 5 dealer locations nationally took an average of 18 days longer to source replacement parts than tractors from brands with established regional networks. And in several documented cases, the importing company ceased operating entirely, leaving owners with functionally unsupportable machines, regardless of how well the tractor itself had been built. The comparison worth remembering here is the most important one in this entire video. A slightly more expensive tractor backed by a brand with 15 dealers across the country and a 10-year track record of continuous part supply is a fundamentally safer purchase than a cheaper tractor from a brand with one importer and no history of Australian support, even if the 2 machines are mechanically identical on paper. Before buying any tractor, particularly from a newer or lesser-known brand, farmers should check how many years the brand has operated continuously in Australia, how many dealer locations currently exist, and whether the importer has ever changed hands or ceased trading previously. That single piece of research, which takes perhaps 20 minutes, prevents the single most expensive and most common regret in Australian tractor ownership. Across all 5 of these mistakes, one truth stands out. The purchase price on the invoice is never the true cost of owning a tractor, and the decisions that actually determine long-term satisfaction happen before the money changes hands, not after. Horsepower, transmission type, dealer support, electronic sourcing, and parts network depth all matter more than the number on the price tag. Sometimes the smartest tractor purchase is the one where you asked all the uncomfortable questions first. If this breakdown helped you avoid a mistake you had not even considered, hit subscribe, leave a like, and share it with anyone about to buy their first tractor.